Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another session, another live this morning. And always good to be with you here as we just wait a moment or so. We're continuing our series on Alzheimer's. This will be number 3 on a series and what possible causes of Alzheimer's. We went through that the last few days. Good morning, John and Lee. Good morning, Rosa and Jerry. Good to have you on. Heidi, good morning to you this morning. Diane, bonjour. And Anna Parley, Roland, and Lise, and Donna, and Nick, Call, and Larry, and Kristen. Good morning. Jerry, how are you this morning? And Judy from Morrisburg, Amira, Dave, and Diane, Anna, and Carrie. You guys are great. Maria, Lise, Aline, and Kim. And Kim's in Florida. Good for you. And Beatty, and Kathy, and Sandra, Sherry, Mona, thank you, Yolande, bonjour, and Jeanette is on with us this morning. Hey, big crowd, thank you very much for coming on. We are going to talk about, I wrote down 5 list of medications. Got to be careful with these meds, okay? And I'm not telling you to stop them. I'm just going to give you some facts this morning about medications that can contribute to Alzheimer's. You know, you get a medication. I've always said this about antibiotics. The greatest discovery of the 20th century can become the curse of the 21st. And I've said that for many, many, many years. Even though antibiotics can save your life, there's a double-edged sword. And medications are double-edged swords. You know, they fix or temporarily help, but in the long run, you have to be careful. So I want to list these meds this morning, okay, that have links to Alzheimer's, okay? So let me go over them. Now, anti-anxiety medications. The first on the list is anti-anxiety medications, benzos, okay? I call them benzos. The long name is benzodiazepines, benzodiazepines. Who could ever pronounce that? Let me give you a few names, like Ativan. And the problem with these medications, okay, is that benzos, like Valium, Xanax, Ativan, Paxil, are medications. They're anti-anxiety, anti-depression. Here's how they work. Benzos decrease your, they calm the mind down, okay? So if you're anxious, you've got anxiety, you want to calm your mind down, okay? And the hormone they work on is GABA. Now, GABA calms you down. I actually use GABA in our cortisol formula, okay? The problem is that in the long run, you decrease GABA too long, you actually, it decreases, it produces GABA, I mean, but the problem is when you do it artificially for too long, then you're starting to play with the memory center in the brain. So again, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I want to give you the heads up, because if you look at medications, like for example, I was around when antidepressants came out. Prozac. I remember when it came out in the 1970s. The warning on the label, and it'll even tell you that today, I believe. The warning on the label is this is meant to, all of these antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications were meant to take them short term. I had patients come into my office who have been on these things for 30 years. They couldn't go to sleep without that. Sleeping pills. And the problem is they play with the neurotransmitters in your brain. And, you know, like I get it if you're depressed or whatever, and I get it. Why you would take a medication, you know, you see someone that's very depressed, but it's not meant for a long term. These things were never meant to be long term. And so when you're taking a benzo medication, they were meant to be short term. They play with the neurotransmitters, and guess what happens? That can affect your brain. You're much more susceptible to Alzheimer's. You don't see the result of that right away. It's down the road. Something to consider. It's always, guys, and I do a lot of brain stuff, and you know that. But it's amazing when you clean up your diet, when you give your brain all the nutrients that your brain needs, high fat like DHA, and B12, we'll talk about that in a minute because I want to talk about medications that decrease your B12. These things are really important for your brain. But it's amazing, we've talked about this, getting your insulin down, lowering your blood sugar. It has a major impact on your brain. This is why we can take a lot of people over the years with ADD and ADHD and brain issues, brain fog and depression and severe anxiety. The biggest foundation you can have is your diet. There's no medication like food. And either you're taking bad food and a bad med, and sugar, we've talked about it a gazillion times, what it does inside your brain, especially today with fructose that we talked about yesterday. So this whole class of drugs, anti-anxiety, sleeping pills, antidepressants, they play with brain chemistry. Then you get the second form of drugs, the ones that block your acetylcholine. This is involved, acetylcholine is involved with your memory center and learning center in your brain, your hippocampus. What are anti-chlorogenic medications? Well, you ever take an antihistamine that crosses the blood-brain barrier, like Benadryl? Again, they're meant to be temporary. I know people that have been on allergy medication. They take it every day, like Claritin and others. They take it every day. a long period of time, I would get to the root of the allergy. If you got allergies, you got leaky gut. Simple as that. You got environmental, you got food allergies, you got leaky gut. Fix leaky gut. Amazing what happens. But when you get drugs like Benadryl, and even incontinence drugs, that work on the smooth muscle of your bladder, ladies, better be using them only short term. Not meant to be taken. And sometimes people, well, you know what? I take meds. Okay. I get it. But I'm just telling you, anything that plays with your neurotransmitters in your brain over a period of time is going to affect the memory center in your brain. You know what another one is? A whole class of medication? Metformin. Okay? Like glucophage. Metformin, one of the most popular drugs in the world today. Why is metformin so popular? And its derivatives. Because it's for diabetes. You know what the problem is with metformin? It decreases your B12, 100%. No exceptions. Oh, I didn't know that. My doctor didn't tell me that. Yeah, but without B12, you don't make enough red blood cells. Without enough red blood cells, you're not going to make enough oxygen. And guess what your brain needs? Oxygen. And again, it's not like a red light's going to go off on the top of your head. I got a decrease in oxygen. Maybe it's only 5%. Oh, doc, my B12 levels in my blood were normal. I want them high. The more oxygen you have, the better it is in your brain. I always aim high in B12. Those are optimal. You can have a suboptimal be normal. Oh, my number is 300. So what? That's extremely low. You get flagged if you go over 600 and something as being too high. You want high B12. You don't want low B12. You don't want suboptimal B12. B12 is an essential vitamin that you only find in the animal kingdom. It's only in red meat. It's not anywhere else. It's not in chicken. It's not in the plant kingdom. B12 is in red meat, not even in white meat. So when people tell me every day somebody comments, every day, I'm so used to it. It's all right. I don't take it personally. Well, what about on the internet when it says don't eat red meat because it causes cancer? Ooh. Now, why on God's earth would God put a vitamin in red meat, only in red meat, essential for your body? Your nerves don't work without B12. Your brain doesn't work without B12. And then, oh, by the way, don't eat it because it's not good for you. It causes cancer. Oh! My blood pressure goes up at the very thought of the stupidity. Every day I have to answer that question. Every day, 7 days a week. Remember, we got at least 60,000 followers on Facebook. A couple of million on our podcast. Yeah, I get it every day. Oh, red meat, that's bad. It's bad for you, doc. No, it ain't. No, it's not. You absolutely need it. And if you don't get enough red meat, or if you're taking metformin, you better be taking a B12 sublingual supplement, which is better, by the way, than even getting a B12 shot. Okay? I'm not against B12 shots. Every doctor in the universe in the 1950s and the 1960s gave out B12 shots like it was candy. But they don't do it anymore. They're into drugs, not vitamins. They can hardly tell you to take B12. I hate to be negative, but that's the fact. You know, you get the odd doctor to give you, oh yeah, you better take vitamin D. Yeah, you know, I better. Maybe it's not a bad idea, but don't take too much. Don't take too much. I hear that every day too. You can't live without vitamin D. You will never be healthy without vitamin D. It's impossible. You won't be healthy without B12. It's an impossibility. And I would rather you eat it. Vitamin S gives you B12. Steak. Some people take that personally. They get upset when I say it. I don't care. This is my show. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether some people like it or not. My vegetarian and vegan friends, I love you. I do, but you're wrong. You got bad science, man. I hate to tell you. You've been duped. Okay. So, diabetic medication takes away your B12. Here's another one that takes away your B12 and other things that your brain needs, minerals. That's why it's important. Antacids. Over the counter, like Tums and Rolaids and Gaviscon. And what else can you get over the counter? I wrote them down. Alka-Seltzer. Pepto-Bismol. Those are all antacids over the counter. But then your antacids, medications, like Nexium, right? What other ones? Pentaprotazole, Prevacid. You know what they do? You know what these antacids do? Whether they're over the counter or whether they're by prescription, you know what they do? They block your intrinsic factor. What does that mean? If they block the intrinsic factor, you can't absorb B12. You can't absorb B12 over a long period of time. You might not know it. No light's going to flash on your head, but you're on your way to getting Alzheimer's. Because of B12, what B12 brings to the brain. B12 helps every aspect of your brain plus oxygen. What do you think happens in a head injury? Right? A lack of oxygen to the brain. Somebody that's had a stroke. Even a heart attack. You get a lack of oxygen to the brain. Well, that's what a low levels of B12 will do for you. It's going to kill your brain cells. And that's a big factor. And people, you know, doc, I got acid reflux. I got to take, if I don't take a med, I know, but I'm just telling you about the double-edged sword. It was never meant to be, not for long term. And remember, in 99% of acid reflux, GERDs, it's insulin. It's your body screaming, hey, cut out the sugars and the crappy carbohydrates. Your body's screaming at you. That's what acid reflux is. It's a symptom. And your body's screaming by sending more acid into your esophagus. People that have Barrett's syndrome and all this and that. I said, yeah, but that's a symptom. It's not the cause. The cause is your pancreas. It's insulin. You overworked it. And your body's screaming at you. Stop eating carbs. Not easy. I didn't say that was easy. It's tough sledding, you know. So when you get an antacid, right? You get these things that block. They block your absorption of vitamin B12. Well, they do a lot of other things because they block your absorption of you see, your stomach is a furnace, guys. Your stomach is so key. Besides the intrinsic factor to absorb B12, but it's more than that. It's a furnace to melt your food down. You want that thing to be very, very acidic. It's hitting a furnace and that's what breaks your food down so that you can absorb everything, your nutrients in your small intestine. Last week we talked about the gallbladder and the importance of bile. And the fact is that there's many people don't even have a gallbladder. That's going to have an effect on your absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like D and K and vitamin A. Those are fat-soluble vitamins. They're meant to be eaten in nature, in fat, fatty fish, fatty steak, fatty organ meat. You see, in nature, God puts that stuff in, right into the food. And a lot of it is, we avoid it like the plague because we've been lied to. I don't know about you, but I hate when someone lies to me. I can't handle it. I don't like that. Tell me the truth, I can take it. Better off to admit it. Right? That's a lot of problems today. There's people, don't lie to me, I don't like it. I see propaganda coming 100 miles away. I don't want to be lied to. So I got problems with that. When you send people, and then, here's what the modern world does. Okay? You'll see it every day. We've seen it even with this virus. Oh, let's follow the science. Okay. But science, by definition, is observation. Science, by definition, needs to be questioned. Hey, guys, you know what I knew about nutrition in the night? I took 2,000 hours of nutrition in the 1970s at school. 2,000 hours of it. A lot of it I still, of course I use it every day, so I remember it. But you know what I know today compared to what I knew then? See, folks, that's science. The more we observe, right? The more we observe, the more we learn. So when someone tells you, oh, the science is settled, that is deception. Because the science is never settled. Because then it's not science. Well, the science is settled. I can't handle that. That's not true. How could the science be settled? Right? You show me something, I'm going to look at it. I got no problem doing that. It's not that I have an open mind so that, anything can come into my head. I use, use your brain. So when someone tells you the biggest threat to our society today is the climate, I got trouble with that. I don't accept that as being, it's settled. No more carbon footprint and no more using oil and gas, natural gas and that. I got trouble with that. Now, that's not my area of expertise, but I got trouble with it. I'm not convinced that that's our biggest problem in society today. Our biggest problem in society today, forget the moral stuff and all that, is our stinking food. You want to know where we got deceived? Is when the biggest ruse, fat makes you fat. And the whole world went for it, hook, line, and sinker. It wasn't true. Oh, don't eat cheese. Cheese can make you fat. Don't have cream. Cream. Ooh. Calories. Look at all the calories. Was it true? No. The whole food industry went that way. You're going to make cholesterol. And cholesterol's bad for you. Cholesterol is the boogeyman. True or false? And people every day try and convince me. Because you know what the 5th class of medications we want to talk about today? That affect your brain in the long term? Statin drugs. Lipitor, Crestor, Zocor. Oh, doc, I got my cholesterol down. Yeah, but you're losing your mind at the same time. I love those commercials on TV, giving each other high fives. I got my cholesterol down. I keep going, woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. You're going to go crazy because you're going to lose your brain. I'm getting my cholesterol. Your head. Guys, your brain is made up of fat. Why do you want to get your cholesterol down? You want to get your cholesterol up. High cholesterol equals, high cholesterol equals healthy brain. Statin drugs kill your B12. Statin drugs lower your cholesterol. They work. But they don't stop you from having a heart attack. But they work. They will lower your cholesterol. But why do you want... I always ask people, okay, why do you want to have low cholesterol? And again, that's another thing that 7 days a week, I answer the question, Doc, what about my cholesterol? Well, I always say, what about it? You can't convince me to look at your cholesterol levels. I won't do it. Now, I'll look at your good cholesterol levels because you better have lots of it. But this whole thing about lowering cholesterol, I'm sorry. If it was true, I'll just put this out there. If it was true that cholesterol caused heart attacks, then we would have eradicated heart disease. Well, we haven't eradicated. Yesterday, in the United States of America, yesterday, over 2,200 people yesterday died, not of COVID, of heart disease yesterday. That's a statistical fact. Every day, is it 800 and something thousand a year? Because they're looking for love in all the wrong places. If your whole premise is lowering cholesterol, and God love them in medical school. They teach them lower cholesterol, lower cholesterol, lower cholesterol. Get your LDL, get it down, get it down, get it down. It doesn't work. Because it's based on a faulty premise. And I know you guys, you're people who follow me, you're getting inundated every day about eating low fat, and every day about cholesterol, and every day either on TV or on social media or whatever. And here's John the Baptist crying in the wilderness, repent, repent, it ain't true. Number one selling medication of all time. The number one selling medication of all time is a drug called Lipitor. You would have put, let's say, $10,000. So you just said, I'm going to take a chance. And I'm going to put in $10,000 with Pfizer and buy their stocks. When they came out with Lipitor, you'd be a multi-millionaire today. A multi-millionaire with a $10,000 investment into Pfizer in the 1980s. And you would have held on to that stock. Be a multi-millionaire today. Based on a lie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But it bugs me. And I'm not popular on that issue. when it comes to my colleagues. I said, well, I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry. I won't do it. I want you to look at the results in our society today. We're not healthier. We're worse. 88% of the population have metabolic syndrome. Brought to you by the CDC, not me. I didn't say it. I didn't say 80%, 88%. I said 95%. But they said 88. I'll live with that. 88% of the population have a condition called metabolic syndrome, and that, my friend, is the problem in our society today. If you're under 80 and you don't have metabolic syndrome, even this virus, you swat away like it's a fly. The virus doesn't attack healthy people metabolically. True or false? You're either very old, you're susceptible, or you got metabolic syndrome, which is caused by food. The overarching thing of metabolic syndrome is insulin. It's food. Insulin is a food hormone. You don't secrete insulin unless you eat. And you secrete lots of it if you eat the wrong things. I don't know how to make it any more simple. It's not cholesterol. It's not cholesterol. Cholesterol is only found, by the way, in food that is in the animal kingdom. Why do you think animal food has such a bad rap? Dairy, butter, eggs. I read a study the other day. Eggs can give you diabetes. I got a headache just thinking about it. The absolute stupidity. I talked to a lady yesterday. I said, do you like eggs? She said, yes. I said, well, then you'll love me. Well, how many can I have? Well, how many do you want? Okay, gone way over time. Okay, love you guys. Okay, I mean that. Don't be shy. If you don't like what I said, I don't mind you challenging me. I really don't. But if you make a snidey comment, I'm going to push back. No, listen, I love you guys. I want you. Why do you think we have the Facebook group private? You can come on and put your 2 pennies in there. I don't care. We invite it. Just be kind. Don't be miserable. Okay. Lord willing, we talk to you tomorrow. Love you guys.